You're basically taking cafes as a concept to a different level. I can definitely taste the fermented notes. There's also a certain kind of an aftertaste to that coffee.
You're going to get this wherever you taste Liberica. I'll be giving you a taste of the drips that we have brewed today morning.
Oh, it's a different sensation of the coffee altogether.
How special, the orange cold brew.
Oh. And now I'm tasting the latte. That's a good cup of coffee.
Double egg sandwich.
Mr. Mayar.
Open bagel toasty. Classic Korean bun. Koppa the bun.
Oh, the hit of the chili. So I like the caramelized sweetness of the onions in this. This is superb, and I like the fact that the bun is nice and soft.
Kombucha cascara.
Stir that matcha into the mango pulp. Namaskara folks, this is Kripal Amanna, Gourmet on the Road, and you're watching Food Lovers TV. I hope you're doing well, I hope you're staying safe and strong. If you're a coffee lover, this one's especially for you. We are here at this small coffee shop in JP Nagar, South Bengaluru, where I'm told they brew an interesting cup of joe alongside other beverages and serve up some tasty sides as well. Stay tuned to find out more. Namaskara.
Namaskara, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How long has it been?
It's been a year since we opened as a cloud coffee
Okay.
shop and 5 months since we opened for dine-in at this location.
Well, I'm with Gurudeep. I'm going to know him more as a coffee lover today, but prior to this, I know him as a fellow food lover.
Yes.
You've seen him perhaps in a couple of my videos shot maybe
Yes.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
And quite by chance, I learnt of his fondness for coffee too, his passion for coffee, his experiments that I'm told you've conducted with coffee at home.
Yes.
And now all that is out here in drip and drop coffee.
I used to just brew my own cup for myself and that's it.
And how long have you been doing?
It's been around 7-8 years.
7-8 years.
Starting from our humble, something that's the traditional South Indian filter coffee. That's what is the root for any coffee lover in India. After the invention of the boiler that came into use into an espresso machine, there were other gravity-based coffee brewing methods that were just lost.
That were just lost.
Yeah, I think India is the only one who was the custodian to hold that old school brewing method.
You're a mechanical engineer, got into construction, began dabbling with coffee, and loved it so much that you've stopped that and now you're
It's a full-time job.
fully entrenched in the world of coffee.
Absolutely. I've always seen many of my family members being fascinated by the cup of coffee my mother brews. Whenever somebody comes home, they will say that even though I had coffee outside, I want to have the cup your mom makes.
And I think a cup of coffee is not just the act of drinking it, but it's also the whole emotion.
Also nostalgic.
I also like the space that you've built here. So you've literally built this cafe from the ground up.
Yes, this was an empty plot. So I happened to just take it for lease and I thought I'll just start off my brand over here. My idea was to make it experiential. So we have segregated our space in a way where we have the classic approach that you come in 60 seconds, you have a cup of coffee and you can walk out of it.
So that's the espresso machine.
That's our espresso bar. This is our slow coffee bar.
The slow coffee bar.
Yes.
So that's the fast coffee bar. This is a slow coffee bar.
Absolutely. This is our drip wall.
So here the coffee trickles down gently.
Absolutely. So this is called as a Kyoto cold drip tower, majorly popularized by some Japanese brands. Chilled water on coffee grounds changes the flavor, the body.
These are the coffee grounds.
Yes.
On top you have water, chilled water, is it?
So that'll be ice cubes and water. The ice begins to melt and it becomes chilled water.
And then that percolates through the grounds. How long does it take?
This takes about 4 to 5 hours. And again, it's in our control.
So I can see also here the ground size, it seems a little bigger.
That is because with this kind of brewing method, when it's coasty ground, that flavor is what gives you that kind of a balanced cup.
What is this?
Airtight containers to store roasted coffee. We need minimum of at least 10 to 15 days for the coffee to give its best flavor.
After roasting?
After roasting. Rum barrel aged coffee from Harley Estate.
Nice, so this is a rum barrel aged coffee. So these are the Liberica, is it?
This is a Liberica.
This is the Robusta and that's the Arabica. So every cup of coffee that you do here is ground fresh.
Ground fresh. So this is the Liberica, banana peel fermented.
Ah, I can smell the fermentation in the air.
Yeah. And here I can control how much fine I want the grind size to be.
Oh, so this is quite granular, medium.
Because all these brewing techniques is gravity based, there is no pressure that goes through it.
The extraction method would determine the size of the ground.
Absolutely.
So if you have a high pressure, high temperature extraction, the ground size will be finer.
Yes.
And if you have extraction that happens over a period of time, then the ground size will be coarser.
Absolutely. Generally we maintain at a 90 to 92 degrees.
So that should be the temperature of the water.
Yeah, that's the brewing temperature. This again goes with your flavor profile, what you want. You want something with low acidity, I go for higher temperature. You like some citrus acidity in your coffee, I go for a lower temperature. So with this, it's like a rainfall that's falling. So again, it's like a soft touch, similar to what we saw here. The coffee grounds are dry. As soon as you add water to it, it begins to bloom. That's the carbon dioxide that's trapped in it. It starts to come out. And that is part of it which we don't want. But it immediately takes the coffee ground into a phase where it is wetted and the good flavors which we want. So immediately we go for the second phase. So the second phase is where we try to achieve a lot of sweetness and it has to be poured very slow. So I have 30 grams of coffee here which we freshly ground, and we will be doing it in a ratio of 450 ml of water that will pass through this coffee ground, and we'll probably get like 2 to 3 cups of coffee. I'll just give a quick stir here.
We've spoken enough, watched Gurudeep in action. I can't wait to taste the coffees.
Cheers.
Cheers. I can definitely taste the fermented notes. There's also a certain kind of an aftertaste to that coffee.
That's Liberica.
That's Liberica.
You're going to get this wherever you taste Liberica. So that's like, it's like a sweet molasses that's coating your entire palate.
I was going to say a little yeasty.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a bit of acidity, but there's also a bit of a residual sweetness or
Sugarcane molasses, caramelized banana.
you can literally feel that coffee sink into your tongue as you sip on it. In fact, as you're tasting the coffee, I think that's when you're beginning to also register perhaps the nuances. I picked around lunchtime to be here because I thought maybe not too many people would be having coffee, but I guess there's no time for coffee. You can have a good cup of coffee anytime.
Absolutely. So I'm giving you the same coffee in a tasting cup. The coffee flavors are trapped in it, the way it is shaped when you start sipping it because of this bottleneck here. I'll be giving you a taste of the drips that we have brewed today morning.
Oh, fantastic. So these are the cold brews. I want to sip this and see what the difference is. This is my personal opinion. When you serve in something which is plasticky, I think that medium feels very sterile.
True.
Whereas here, somehow everything seems to connect very well.
Very true.
Huh?
Very true.
I think next, what are we going to be tasting now?
So these is our drips. I won't tell you which is which. Whiskey barrel aged, the rum barrel aged, and 100% Robusta.
I'm doing a quick sniff test first.
Yeah.
Because he's not told me which ones are the fermented barrel aged coffees and which one is the Robusta. So I think this is a Robusta because this doesn't have the fermentation aromas. Cheers. Oh, it's a different sensation of the coffee altogether.
This is with the brewing technique.
You know, here the coffee feels a lot leaner as opposed to the hot extraction where the coffee tends to just sink into your tongue. I think cold brews make for great sipping coffees.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's also a certain smokiness in this coffee.
Yeah, I think you're tasting the whiskey one.
So probably that's what we are zeroing in on. This is the sort of coffee that you want to nurse on a summery afternoon. I think let's move to the second fermentation aged coffee.
Yes.
So in this one, I have a bit of a caramel sort of a note, flavor, notes of perhaps molasses. This is also a bigger coffee. I'm also tasting more of the oak barrel in this. This is more woody. This one was smoky.
So that is the whiskey.
Some caramel notes there.
Yes.
That's what I'm tasting in this. So this is the rum based.
Right, rum barrel.
So that's a whiskey barrel aged coffee, and this is the rum barrel aged coffee. So how long would they ferment typically?
Approximately, it could be in the range of 60 to 90 days.
60 to 90 days. So they basically wash the coffee. So you have the bean that is then sealed into the barrel. What is the moisture level of the bean when it goes into the barrel? About 12%?
12 to 15%.
12 to 15%.
Slightly more. It will be slightly more because they want the flavors to be absorbed. When we roast it, moisture is almost zero.
Well, I think the coffee nerd in Gurdeep has also perhaps influenced me to also speak like a coffee nerd, but I quite enjoyed the cold brews. This was also nice, but I guess this is also a coffee that perhaps is your first cup of coffee in the morning.
Yes, it could be.
Whereas this is a coffee that I would have a little later in the day. On to the third cup, which I know by now, the Robusta. Very different. Definitely the sort of coffee that sinks right in. Got that slight bitter sort of a finish, which is something I did not taste in these coffees.
Okay.
But here I can definitely taste that bitter edge of the coffee right away. So if I were to, let's say, have these two coffees, I could even have them a little later in the day, and perhaps like Gurudeep said, even closer to the evening. But this coffee I would have definitely around noon. Because if you're the sort of person who has trouble sleeping after a cup of coffee a little late in the evening, well, this one would certainly keep you awake.
House special. We call it as the orange cold brew.
Oh, wonderful. So that's the orange juice at the bottom?
Yes.
And that's your cold brews, Arabica.
Yeah. So we do a long steep for about 36 hours. It's wash process Arabica. And it's a cold brew that we do.
Well, I'm quite looking forward to a slight shift in my palate as opposed to what I've been tasting prior to this. What straw is this?
Straw made of rice starch.
Really?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I must say that the detailing that you've gone into is quite commendable.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, this is absolutely delicious. I love the manner in which the zesty citrusiness of the orange intermingles with that slightly heavy, slightly earthy flavor notes of the coffee.
And the coffee that we use, naturally it has a zesty, slightly orange flavor to it.
Oh, that's delicious. Is this a fresh orange juice
We
or?
use from a brand called Raw Pressery. It's actually very expensive. I don't think any cafe would want to use that. But we wanted to serve the best product.
So what you basically get is a good, fresh, clean, 100% natural orange juice.
Yes.
Wonderful. And what's a beverage like this priced at here?
So this we price it at $230.
I mean, you're basically taking cafes as a concept to a different level. You're not looking at it as a typical business owner of a cafe would.
To start off with.
To start off with. You're still experimenting.
Yes.
The passion that you poured. So when you began this, even a year ago, so you had like a coffee thing at home?
Absolutely. Whatever you see here is from my home.
All this equipment
Everything.
was at home?
So this was over a period of 7-8 years which I starting from the AeroPress to...
So you had a coffee room at home or?
Yeah, I had a small room in my home where I used to store all this and I used to do coffee for myself, do a takeaway of it when I used to go back to work or something in a flask. So that's how I would...
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that happened for how many years?
That happened for almost around 7 to 8 years.
7 to 8 years. And then you decided to start a cloud kitchen.
Yes.
Okay.
I decided to get into F&B because it was one of my passions from almost 15 years.
Okay.
Something to do with food, something to do with hospitality. Coffee was something that was feeding that idea.
So coffee was the denominator in all these experiments that you did in the food and beverage space.
Absolutely.
And therefore you said, why not take that coffee and make that the center stage of my world?
And a very good friend of mine, Mr. Tariq, is the one who actually told me, "Well, you're doing so much in coffee, why don't you start?"
Wow, what is this?
This is one of the state-of-the-art espresso machine.
I've never seen something like this. So would this be like the Ferrari in the espresso machine world?
You know, these are like custom made, like the David versus Goliath thing. where this is a small brand which came out with a product that is far better than a Lamborghini or a Ferrari.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
This is made where?
This is made in Italy.
Made in Italy.
Made in
Of course,
Italy.
a good espresso machine.
Yeah.
And then basically you come here and you choose your
caffeine.
I think it's time to now move on to something hot in anticipation of the food that will come out from the kitchen. So what are we going to be? What coffee do you recommend?
You can choose whether if it's black, you can follow the steps here. If it is white, you can follow that.
I think let's do a white, hot, something between the cappuccino and the flat
have
white.
the latte.
The latte, okay. Let's do the latte.
You can have the latte. I can probably give you with a blended milk. The choice could be yours, an almond and oat together, or regular milk and almond together.
I'll leave that to you. Whatever gives.
We'll do regular milk and almond.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I quite like the character of Drip and Drop Cafe. It doesn't feel like your typical coffee shop. It has a very rooted, a very organic feel to it. So you've got that space indoors, and then you've got this nice little courtyard sort of area as well. You've got the gentle flow of the water in the background. You've got some plants around you. Not only do I like the passion that the owner is pouring into every cup of coffee, I also like the overall atmosphere of the space. And now I'm tasting the latte. That's a good cup of coffee. This is the sort of coffee that would definitely bring me back for more. It's nice to see businesses like these develop. So this place is only about a year old, but I've heard about this from people who've been here, and I did my own research. There's a certain effort to doing things here. Right, for instance, you have the espresso bar, and then you also have a slow bar for the slow method of brewing coffee. And I think it takes a certain commitment to take a piece of prime real estate like this and do coffee this way. And therefore, I felt this was an initiative, an enterprise that certainly needed to be talked about. Oh, the food's here.
This is our Mr. Maillard.
Oh, Mr. Maillard, okay. I like the fact that it looks almost like a cheeseburger.
This is our bagel toasty, which we call it as an open bagel toasty. Our Mr. Maillard is made with slow cooked garlic, onions, and mushrooms.
With that cheese dripping, is that cheddar?
100% aged cheddar. Yeah.
Fantastic. And this?
So this is techa paneer.
Oh, thetsa paneer.
Yes.
Those not in the know, is a very spicy Maharashtrian condiment.
Absolutely.
Of the green chili. Let's go for some of that open bagel toasty. You got the sesame seeds on the underside of the bagel. Definitely tasting the bite of the chili, but thankfully because you got the paneer, that creamy dairy of that paneer is helping tone some of that spice down, and then you also have some mozzarella on top. Also, it's a bagel that doesn't have too much of a tug, which I guess boils down to the manner in which this particular bagel is made. But I quite like the spicy prick in that thetsa paneer toasty. Oh, more food.
This is our classic Korean bun. So that's with an in-house made cream cheese.
So that's also your pull-apart bun in a manner.
This is like a pull-apart.
So you got cream cheese in that? And
yeah, it has cream cheese, and it has a little bit of condensed milk because that's one of the classic Korean bun flavors, and it has lots of garlic that goes into it.
And that's Apeksha. So Apeksha, are you also involved in supporting your husband?
Yes, only to empty his cash box.
Only to empty his cash box. Oh, that's nice. So you come at the end of the day.
End of the day.
Wonderful. And what is this?
Koppa the bun.
So koppa is not as in something Italian. Koppa as in a Kannada koppa. Koppa bandre. Anger bandre aatara agate idu banninge.
So this is a koppa the bun variant which we make for ourselves with a little bit of extra koppa sauce on that. People come here and they ask, we want more spicy.
So is that how it began?
So during our cloud kitchen times, we had these Korean buns that would be on our menu. And one of our customers unfortunately was unhappy with it, and he was expecting it to be spicy. But this generally tends to be more on the slightly sweeter side with a bit of umami flavor. He had written a big review, and we were like, we want to focus on making probably another product which is very spicy.
So this was a revenge act.
In a good way.
You want spice? Well, we'll give you all the chilies that we have in the kitchen. So what is the sauce here? So I see green chilies.
So we make our own sauce in a way where it has 3 types of chilies. We have our gundur chili, we have our Byadgi chili, and mankattu.
Ah,
Yeah,
so it's a
so-
spicy puri actually.
Yeah, it's like a spicy puri which we have. Reduced tomato gravy that we make here in-house.
I think I'm going to go to that Maillard mushroom. You can see the mushrooms, there's some onions that you see in there. That's a soft milk bun, very soft to the touch. Do you baste it with butter?
When we cook the mushrooms and everything, there is some rendered fat that comes out.
Ah,
So we toast the buns in that.
that's the reason why my fingers too are a bit wet, are a bit moist. Very nice. What do you bind the mushrooms with?
What we do is we just add a little bit of cream to it, just to give that kind of a fatty note to it. Slowly we start packing it to a small patty shape.
This you have to try here. So I like the caramelized sweetness of the onions in this. I also like that slight milky dairy richness that binds the mushroom and the onions together. This is superb, and I like the fact that the bun is nice and soft. And that umami hit, certainly something that I will return for. Pull apart Korean bun, cheesy and gooey. There's certain sweetness in there, and also the loaded flavor of the garlic. It's nice to have a cafe put thought into its food, and not just put thought into its food, but all the dishes that I've seen here are prepped when a customer places an order. So of course they get the Korean bun from outside, but the preparation of the Korean bun with the cream cheese stuffing, with that parsley drizzle on top, with the baking, all that happens once you place an order. Also with the other dishes that I'm tasting out here. Typically when you go into a cafe, they're a lot focused on the coffee. Of course they only do the standard coffees for the most part. And then the food is something that comes out of the showcase and probably gets heated in an oven. But out here, the dishes are prepped from scratch. I think that's what makes the food here quite interesting too. I think let's move next to that koppa the bun. It's oozing wetness with that tomato sauce that's been infused with the chili. I'm told there's a 3 chili combination that goes into it, and one of them is the mankattu chili, which is definitely a spicy chili. And then you've got slivers of the green chili on top. I love that slight sweetness that I got initially, perhaps from that bun. Oh, and then the hit of the chili. And because it's a red chili powder, it's a sort of chili that lingers. There's also the sweet tang of the tomato sauce that I'm tasting in that. This is delicious, but spicy too. So the byargi probably gives it that color. Guntur, a bit of spice, but mankattu is a sort that will sear your tongue. That cheese to a certain extent almost mollifies that spicy hit of the chili. You didn't expect that I was coming, just dropped in, giving them hardly any notice. But I must tell you, I've enjoyed everything that I've tasted here thus far.
Thank you, sir.
It really speaks volumes of your commitment to making this cafe very different as opposed to what you find on the typical coffee scene.
That has been our sole intention. And using good quality ingredients with whatever we have been serving with. And I think the ingredients will speak for themselves.
Very nice. What do we have here?
There's our all-day breakfast dish. It's called as a double egg sandwich.
I can already smell the aroma.
And we have upgraded you with the bagels that we have.
Oh, nice.
It's a white sesame and a poppy seed
So normally
bagel.
it's on a brioche.
Normally it's on a standard, it comes as a brioche. We always give an upgrade to people if they want to try the bagel, if they come for breakfast. So we have butter that goes into it first, then some parsley. And then we have a furakake mix that we have made. That is like onion powder, some garlic powder, white sesame and black sesame that goes
So
into
the
it.
egg is what, boiled or is it like?
No, it's scrambled, but underdone scrambled.
Almost overburdened with the filling, you know you're in for a tasty treat. So there's the eggs that have been scrambled and then come together with some Japanese seasoning. And then there's also the wilted spinach. I'm tasting a bit of mustard in this.
Mustard mayo.
And that egg is nice and custardy. I also like the manner in which the austere bitterness of that spinach cuts through that creamy luxuriousness of that egg. What are you making here?
So here we have steeped some kaskara here from Ratnagiri estate.
Kaskara. So
Kaskara.
that's basically the
husk of the coffee.
husk of the coffee. So it's basically the outer layer of the cherry, coffee cherry.
Because we happen to source the coffee that is of high bricks value, that is the red cherries. So even the cherry, the skin also retains some, remnants of some sweetness, some sugars in it.
That's the pulp that coats the coffee bean.
Something like kokum.
It's got the texture of kokum, but it doesn't have the sourness, of course. It's very earthy in its flavor tones.
Yes.
Not too much to taste there, perhaps a slight, faint remnant of the fact that it contained coffee beans within it at some point.
Yes. So this is the extraction that we take.
Well, that's the extraction. In this, I'm tasting a little more of the sourness, the sweetness. I was just going to come to that, the fruitiness.
Yes. It's very well rounded. I was feeling something like a floral honey, like a wild honey kind of a taste. And there is no sugar added to it. It's just the natural sweetness.
Very nice. So you also have kombucha here, for those who don't want to drink coffee.
Absolutely. Kombucha cascara.
So what kombucha is this?
This is a passion fruit and a jasmine infused kombucha. Our in-house custom-made ice cream with a little bit of less sugar compared to the regular ice cream, and Alfonso mango pulp that's completely.
So you make the ice cream yourself?
It's one of my friend's factory where we get it done. So I go there, I get it done. In
So it's
front
what
of
a
me.
mango ice cream.
No, that's vanilla what we use. It's classic. That's basically as a mix for most of the ice
So
cream.
you've got a combination of the matcha, you've got some mango pulp,
Yes.
fresh mango pulp,
Yes, and ice cream.
and ice cream.
That's it.
Well, that sounds like a dessert of a drink.
Absolutely.
And probably also a reminder to the fact that I've spent far too much time here at Drip and Drop Cafe, and I should probably think of winding up things and finding my way home. I'll have this over a fresh lime any day. The cascara has a bit of that earthiness,
Yes.
right?
And it has kind of part of the same fabric we felt when we were making this beverage. Kombucha is made from tea, and cascara is also brewed like tea and tastes similar to tea.
So there's a process of fermentation
Yes.
in the kombucha.
Yeah.
And I think that cascara combines rather well with that. Stir that matcha into the mango pulp and ice cream. Is there also some milk in it?
Little bit of it.
You know, matcha has a certain bitterness to it, naturally. I like the manner in which that matcha complements with the sweetness of the mango pulp. So it tones down that bitter character of the matcha, but not so completely that you don't realize the fact that there's a matcha green tea in that. Oh, this is absolutely delicious. I'm also tasting somewhere in the back of my palate the vegetal notes that you would typically taste in matcha. So all that doesn't go away.
No. Matcha and mango has been a kind of a traditional pairing. So it kind of like mango and mint, how it goes. Similar to that is matcha and
And now in my second sip, I'm tasting a little more that bitterness of the matcha. So once your palate gets accustomed to the mango, then it's certainly the matcha that takes over.
Absolutely.
I think the matcha reigns supreme in this mango.
matcha iced latte.
And to be honest, I would probably, if I want to change, pick this over a coffee any day. Having said that, I've enjoyed everything that I've tasted here. To be honest, I can't really fault any of the dishes that I've tasted, nor the cold brews or the hot coffees. Of course, it's always a matter of taste and preference. If you want to taste brews with a difference, taste beverages that have been crafted with a whole lot of passion, leave behind all notions you may have of a traditional coffee shop. Because when you come here, Gurudeep will broaden your horizons on what coffee brewing should be all about, and also the sort of interesting food that you can taste in a coffee shop as well. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly long, rather indulgent episode of Gourmet on the Road. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, stay strong, happy eating and drinking. Thank you. Thank you very much.
This karupatti, palm jaggery.
Oh, nice.
Which we make in house.
Oh, you make this in house?
Yeah, now the ice cream, the sweetener.
It doesn't have that thick condensed milk sort of a flavor. A bit icy also in this
that is
texture.
because of the
Karupatti.
It has that kind of a...
Nice.
It's
Nice
very
and-
dense actually. When I'm scooping it, it's not like the regular white sugar. This is something there. But after we allow it to cool for some time, then it's
I guess the karupatti also probably crystallizes the milk.
yeah, exactly.
So you're tasting that sweet earthiness of that karupatti, the black jaggery in this. Thank you. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As and a lot more. You could support us on our Patreon page as well. For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share and leave a comment below. Happy eating.